Live with our first LinkedIn Live for this year. Feels great.
Same.
And with me today, I have Alisa and Sophia. How are you feeling today?
Good. Happy to be here.
Oh, so happy.
For a good start of the year, a good session that we are going to explore the topic of mental clarity and connecting to the inner compass. And that will be through a set of interesting tools and techniques. So we will give it a few more minutes for people to join. But what will you be sharing today, Alisa?
So I'll go through quite a few different practices that I do when I feel a sense of overwhelm or when I'm in distress and cannot think clearly, essentially. So I'll be sharing what I do, and then also I'll finish off with a typical EFT tapping sequence as well, because that's one of my favorite tools to shift energy.
That sounds really exciting. And so great that you can share those practical tools that we can use during the day.
That's right.
And Sophia, what are you going to share?
Well, I'm going to share a tool that I use when I try to visualize what I would like to call in for the year. So using our breathing. So yeah, I look forward to share that easy tool.
Amazing. And now, since we're officially starting this session, and we decided to have this session on the topic of mental clarity and how to connect to your inner compass, as that's something I believe we all strive for and that we want to do. But in this life, in this world where so much things are happening around us, it can sometimes be very challenging or actually very difficult to tune into what you need. And that's why we decided to have this session to give a set of practical tools and techniques that you can use during your day. And for those of you who doesn't know me, my name is Miriam Sundholm and I'm the founder of the health company Omla. And I have the privilege of working with experienced health experts. And two of my favorite ones are with me today, Alisa and Sophia. So with that said, maybe I'm just going to hand it over to you, Alisa, so you can give a little short introduction to who you are, what you work with, and what you will be doing. Yeah, take us through these interesting techniques.
Absolutely. Thank you. So my name is Alisa, and I'm an EFT practitioner on a part-time basis, but I also am a school counselor, actually. So I work with children from, 3 to 9. So that's between the ages of 6 and 16. And previously, I was working as a health and wellbeing manager at a university. So I've been working with various different individuals throughout all my life, really, and their well-being, so to say. And today I'll be going through various practices that I do when I'm in a state of distress, and what I do to kind of calm my system down, essentially. And I'll finish my little part with a little EFT tapping sequence. So hopefully that will be of use whenever someone is feeling overwhelmed. Is that good?
It sounds
Great.
really good and something I believe many people can relate to, the feeling of overwhelm. It's been a new year, and I think a lot of people are excited about what's coming and have a lot of plans. But in all of that, in this excitement and the things to do, that can also sometimes cause a bit of stress. At least that's how I feel sometimes.
Absolutely. And it's important to also elicit, what is a positive stress and what might be a toxic stress. So let's say that we're feeling quite overwhelmed here and now, and we are quite in a state of mental clutter, I'd like to say. There's lots of things happening in your body and your mind. And what I really do is I always try to welcome stillness in my life at that time. And that means just trying to kind of disconnect a little bit from the world, silencing any notifications or any distractions for the moment, and just taking time out and doing something that I find grounding for myself. And that could look differently for different people, of course. Some people may want to go for a run to clear their thoughts, but some people may just meditate and connect with their body, which I also prefer, but also connect not only to the stress that I'm sensing, but also the lack of stress that I'm sensing. There might be parts in your body that aren't in tension or pain, just, feeling comfort and sort of, relaxed essentially. And I try to connect with those parts as well. And then, of course, I'd like to invite everyone to always have a piece of paper nearby for a bit of journaling or, writing in a diary, just the different stresses that you may identify in your life here and now. And when you express it on a piece of paper, it's quite easy then to see things from a different perspective, perhaps. You might zoom out and be able to recognize these are the areas that I might need to accept are happening in my life or taking place in my life. But this is a priority because this is urgent, for instance. But then some other aspects might not be as a big priority at all. So just trying to let go of the things that might be causing you distress, and just mentally maybe creating a bit of distance to that, pushing that away somehow. We can do that using our minds and bodies, actually. Using tools like visualization, which Sophia will share later. And another way to kind of let go of some energy that you might not want to be experiencing is, of course, tapping. Even in practices like Feng Shui, you sort of declutter the old and the stale in order to bring in the new, in the same way we can do with our bodies and minds. So, So let's try to kind of just do a little bit of tapping before I hand over the word to Sophia. And I would always welcome everyone to, start tapping on the side of the hand, on the karate chop point. And then just close your eyes maybe and just take a deep inhale. And think about what well-being means to you. What does mental clarity mean to you? And how does that feel like in your body to have that? Is it calm? Is it patience? Compassion or kindness? And maybe you have a color associated to having this lovely, nourishing experience, this positive energy. And just choosing to connect with that color on each cell of your body. And just repeat after me, maybe becoming quite specific with your words if that's available to you. I'm choosing to release any old mental clutter, and I invite new energy in my life. Perfect. And we can just do that again. I'm choosing to stay positive about the time to come, and I can trust that I'll manage it well. Choosing to show myself compassion and acceptance. And then we can go to the top of the head, which is the next point. I'm choosing to relax my body and mind here and now. Excellent. And now let's go to the eyebrow point, the beginning of the eyebrows. I choose to release this stress in my body here and now. And then we go to the side of the eye, closer to the eyelashes. I choose to show myself kindness and compassion during this time. And then underneath the eye, which is the next point, I can invite more positive energy into my life right now. And then going down to the underneath the nose point, I release any tension in my body in this moment. Perfect. And let's go to the chin point. It's safe for me to release the stress and overwhelm. And then the collarbone point. I can invite peace and connection into my life and into my body right now. And then last but not least, underneath the arm point, which is just normally where the bra strap is located, and we say, I choose to accept myself with love and compassion here and now. And I'm letting go of any old energy that doesn't serve me anymore. Excellent. And if you're yawning, just welcome that too. And then take a deep breath in. And just release. Perfect. I hope that was helpful. Only took a couple of minutes really of our time. So I'm going to hand over to you, Sophia.
Thank you, Alisa. I'm so relaxed. So I will share with you now one of many ways that you can use to emphasize or strengthen your, to set your visions and intentions for the coming year. And by using our senses and our breathing when we do that. So I would like to invite you to again close your eyes or lower your gaze, whatever feels more comfortable to you. And just take a moment and focus on your breath. Breathe in and breathe out. And with your next breath, visualize whatever you have identified now from the previous session, what you could let go of that no longer serves you. Breathe in. And now when you breathe out through your mouth, feel whatever needs to leave you, let go. Just let go. Breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth and let go. One more time, breathe in through your nose and sense that whatever you need to let go leaves your body, mind, and soul, and breathe out. Now, take a moment to visualize whatever you would like to call in for the coming year. Imagine that you're already there. You have already achieved it. And notice how that feels in your body. What sensations do you notice? How does it make you feel? Try to see if you can identify an emotion connected to that feeling. Then notice what is surrounding you at this moment. Who is there? What is there? Can you hear any sounds? Can you smell anything? And now focus on your breath again. Breathe in and breathe out. And with your next breath in, feel everything that you have sensed now, the emotion, fill your body with gratitude. One more time, breathe in and let that fill up your body. And breathe out. And now you can open your eyes. And this is one of many ways to just visualize that you're already there and what you feel in your body, what that makes you feel. Thank you. Miriam, I'll hand over to you.
That was lovely, Sophia. And I just want to share also, it was so funny because when I felt this energy of you doing this and also, or feeling into how I felt in that moment that I was that I was visualizing, and it was actually for us to do more of these things together, as that's something that I really enjoy doing, but also having a live sessions with live people around us, because I do believe that when we do this type of work, it's something very special when we come together. So just wanted to share that with you. And maybe for you who are listening in, that you could also share what you saw in your visualization, maybe with a friend or a colleague, and really talk about these things. What do you see yourself doing, and how does it feel? Because it gives a sense of clarity just talking about it and sharing that with someone who you trust, and that you that's part of this. So with that said, another sort of important thing in my life at the moment that I'm trying to explore more is the topic of self-compassion. And it's been so great also getting to know you more, Elisa, last year, because you are also a big advocate and you talk a lot about self-compassion. And it's a theme that I sometimes feel can be a little bit misunderstood, or ignored, maybe, because we do not take the time to really give ourselves the compassion. In our busy lives, many of us are usually great friends, great parents, caring so much around the people around us, for our colleagues and friends and so on. And then compassion comes naturally. You do give your attention and your care to the people that means a lot to you. I think we can all agree that that's a normal human trait. Then giving yourself the same type of compassion or appreciation, and just acknowledging if you go through something challenging, and to do that is also really important to create a sense of well-being, because we will all experience challenging moments in our life, definitely. But it's how you can relate to yourself and how you can support yourself when you go through such a period that can really make a change in your life. So instead of using harsh words when something might feel very disappointing, or you maybe didn't succeed in what you were planning to do, to give yourself support and use words of kindness, it is something that we also need to practice. At least I've been being too harsh to myself many times, and I thought that was the being harsh and having a strong inner critic would make me succeed, would make me work harder. And in many ways, maybe it did, but I don't believe now that it's necessary. I see that when I do things out of joy, out of feeling inspiration, it creates a better outcome. And I enjoy the process more. So one thing to think about self-compassion is really to think, how would you say hello to a friend in the morning? You walk into the office, or you log into your Zoom meeting, and how do you appear? I think it's a smile that comes naturally. If you see someone that you like, you say hello, hi Lisa, how are you? And Sophia, how was your weekend? And you greet me with a smile back, and that makes me happy, and we feel connected. So a technique or something that you can try: when you greet yourself in the morning, when you look at yourself in the mirror the first, now in last of January, after a long winter, how can you then be positive towards yourself and say, hello, good morning, how am I today? Great to see you. I look forward to spending the whole day with you. And And how would that feel if you were to give yourself that energy boost the first thing you do in the morning? So that's something that you can practice now and see how that sort of sets the tone for your day ahead. Do you have any, Alisa, you work a lot with compassion, and I know that you're also now in a really interesting phase because you're studying this topic. Can you
Yes.
tell us a bit more?
So I've been admitted to do the master's program of compassionate inquiry, which is a psychotherapeutic somatic approach developed by Dr. Gabor Mate and Sataram. And I've done the first year, which I did in 22, 23. So now this is the kind of continuation. And it's an incredible journey. It's all about building therapeutic alliance with individuals, of course, clients. And I can use that in various kind of, we can use it at work, but we can also use it, within our kind of, the counseling roles, for instance, that I'm currently in, and so on. If you're a practicing practitioner, for sure, this is just a way to develop your skills. But in compassionate inquiry, we sort of dip into the previous experiences that we had as children, because every time we might be triggered, that in itself gives us a clue that something may have happened in the past that we are defended against. And only, with compassion can we actually then start healing and so on, and understand through awareness what may have happened to change our lives, slowly. So it's an amazing method, which I am very pleased to reconnect with, which I'm starting in a couple of weeks. So yeah.
Very excited
Thank you.
for you, and I'm sure we will have more talks about compassion
Yeah.
in the future, since it's a theme that's coming up more and more. And I also believe that there's this opportunity to embrace and work with compassion as part of building a very sustainable and uplifting corporate culture.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And what's your experience, Sophia? You're also trained as um, therapist in stress management. And how has compassion been part of your training?
Well, it's yeah. Well, what I try to do is link it into my sessions as a stress management facilitator. I talk with people that are working a lot with compassion. They feel very compassionate about what they do and for other people. But what I would like us to reflect a little bit at that is to find the balance in that, to find the balance between feeling compassionate about what you do and compassionate for others and whatever they're going through, and not lose yourself and find a balance into also feeling self-compassion. Because I think that in my line of work, as working with international development assistance, we have a tendency to kind of lose that balance. And I think it's more important than ever with everything is going on in the world to kind of navigate that balance and practice self-compassion more than ever.
Yes, yeah, and there are so many different ways to do that, but just being acknowledging how you feel and your state is something that I think it starts with that, and then that can spread. Mm. And when it comes to the other things we were talking about here earlier, in terms of mental clarity, Elisa, that you talked a lot about, I think it's such a good way to get some clarity or mental clarity is also to give yourself time to reflect upon your own needs. So one way of practicing self-compassion can just be asking yourself, what is my need right now? What do I need to feel good? What do I need to have for this day?
Yeah.
And to also honor that. So another tips that I just realized as we're having this session is, in all of those of you who like to-do lists, I'm definitely one of them, looking at your to-do list and see what are one thing that I do for myself on my to-do list. So it's not just about doing things for others and making progress in your work, which is also, of course, very important to do. But could there be a balance? So maybe your to-do list says, oh, after lunch, I'm going to go out for a little walk. and listen to the birds?
Yeah.
Or what are those small moments that you can give yourself throughout the day that will energize yourself?
Absolutely. I often also ask the question, in how many ways can I show myself compassion today? And that could look differently, of course, for in different ways. But that will definitely always require, or allow me to kind of show myself the time that I need to kind of reconnect with myself. But it could also be, working out or pausing or taking more breaks and eating better food, even, that sort of thing. So.
And when we work with organizations, as you do, Sophia, what are things that, as a manager or a leader, how can you embrace or inspire your colleagues to also be more self-compassionate?
I think by doing the inner work yourself, I think as a guiding your, I mean, doing it by yourself, I think as a manager or somebody in that kind of position could inspire others to do, because, and then making the next step would also to create space for that, those kind of discussions, or, so that I think those are two simple steps to take. Start with yourself and then create space.
Yes, and in just creating space, what we mean then is often just starting the conversation, right? So you don't need to feel that you need to have all the answers, but just bringing your team together and talk about what does self-compassion mean to you, and everyone can just share that, and then you can have a really interesting conversation about how can we bring this more into our work days, into the way we collaborate, and setting the tone for how you interact with each other. So, and we are obviously here to help. So, is there anyone thinking that this sounds really interesting? We would love to have this more. Then we are also here happy to help and to have conversations about how to create sustainable and compassionate workplaces. And in a place like a school, Elisa, where I know you work part-time, how has this been inspiring your work?
Well, I've recently created this 6-week mindfulness program for a specific class that I know have issues within the group and the kind of togetherness. And a really important session is on compassion. And actually, this February, because it's the month of love, but also connection, say love for yourself and others. I'll be doing some interesting practices or interactive sort of sessions for the children in order for them to kind of cultivate a sense of compassion and, connection. Yeah.
That sounds beautiful. And you also work with students, Sophia, but that are a bit older, going to university. What are you sharing with them?
Well, just a reflection and together to see what kind of tools is suitable for them in whatever they will head out to into the world, and providing some easy tools that they could use. And I also find inspiration from mindfulness, because I think that's for me, that's something that I practice. So I try to share that with them and then have reflections about how that works for them and if they can bring it with them into whatever they're heading into next.
Yeah, it goes very well together, mindfulness and self-compassion. Definitely. And I think that's all I really wanted to share. And is there anything from you for a last note to our listeners?
No, just thank you so much for inviting us back to the studio here.
Yes, thank you so much.
It's always a pleasure to have you with me and to share these types of topics, and having a space really to, even LinkedIn can be a space where we talk about compassion and how to create that together, because I do believe that when we collaborate and open up for these discussions, that's where the change can start to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy to have both of you with me today, and so happy for all of you who's been listening.
Thank you.
So wishing you a beautiful day, and we'll see each other more in the future. So stay tuned and subscribe to AMLA so that you don't miss any of these wonderful sessions with different experts on different themes about how to create the future of work. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.